We have the opportunity to get out of the bondage of the twinges of the opponent, of the ego. So if we kind of missed out a little bit, or 30 days ago in the first Pesach, we have the second chance to do it. So even making a connection with the matzah bread, and we know the matzah symbolizes how it's shrinking, how it's really shrinking our desire to receive for oneself alone and expanding the desire for the soul. On top of that, a big friend of one of the most important souls that ever came to this world, which we're going to talk about, that relates to like Baomer, Rav Shimon by Yochai. So a big friend of his, today it's an anniversary. And he's all Kabbalist by himself. There were 5 that remain during this time, that those 5 were the pillars to bring down all the spiritual teaching and put them into writings. So Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, the owner of miracles, this is the anniversary of today. So it's very, very interesting. We kind of were thinking, we have a lot of new students that maybe don't know what does it mean Lag Baomer in this occasion. So we're thinking when to do it, and it came out that the only day that we can do it is today. So we didn't even plan it. So it's beautiful. I love it. It means that something is really working for all of us. So today we're going to learn a bit more, because there is so much to learn about this occasion, this window in time that allowed Vortex to overcome the limitations of the physical reality, which is Lag Baomer. Lag, it's actually an initial of the number 33. It's the 33rd day counting of the Omer. So you see, this is a diagram for you, just to understand. So we have 7 weeks. So we are counting 49 days, which are 7 weeks between Passover, Exodus, to final destination, which is revelation on Mount Sinai, which calls Shavuot. Shavuot means weeks. It's received its name because we are counting 7 weeks. So it's called the weeks, Shavuot. And we have the counting. Counting is meaning I'm accountable to go on a process of ownership, because what happened on Passover was awakening from above to actually take the Israelite, take the human being out of the bondage that he didn't even realize that he's bonded to. And because he didn't realize that he's bonded to that kind of ego twinges of the opponent, physical slavery to what we call the physical slavery to the physical material things in life related to the 5 senses. Sometimes we don't even notice that we are too obsessed with those versus to connection to our soul. So Passover was a gift, neutralizing all that negativity that the Israelites fall into. They fall into 49 gates of negativity. So the neutralization happened, making, okay, now you're free, wiping up all the dirt, all the limitation. Now it's 0. And now you're counting 49 days towards real connection to the divine, real connection to your soul, real understanding of the true reality exists out there. So those are the counting. Being accountable, it means that I want to work on myself to earn that level. So remember, in Kabbalah 1, we're learning that we have to remove bread of shame. Yeah, the Creator can give us everything, can remove all the processes, can remove the opponent, but we ask for that. So that's the process that we're going through. And those 49 days considered to be days of judgment. They considered to be testing trials. It means that every week related to a different sphira. So we see first week is Chesed, second week is Gvura, third week Tiferet, fourth week is Netzach, And tonight we are starting the 5th week. It's the first day. Tonight is going to be the first day of the 5th week. And Lag Baomer would be the 5th day of the 5th week. You see, it's marked on red. So if you count carefully, 7 by 4, it's 28, plus 5, it means it's 33. So this is the reason why it's called Lag BaOmer. Now we're going to deal with a bit more of what truly happened during that time and why it's considered to be such a powerful day. Anyone that study Kabbalah in the world, for him it's considered to be the day that he get charged, he get reconnected to the teachings, because the whole essence of Kabbalah is based on the Zohar, and the Zohar was revealed on that day, time and again, in different levels. And we didn't created a holiday because what happened. Jerusalem is not a holy city because the temple was built there. It's the other way around. The temple was built in Jerusalem because there is a center of energy there that considered to be the central point of creation. Therefore, it's not because the Zohar was revealed on that day we're celebrating that day. The Zohar was revealed on that day because that day has a cosmic opening to remove tremendous judgments from the world. I hope that's making sense to you. So, what's really happening on that day, that Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar, which is the script where all the wisdom of Kabbalah was put together for the first time into writing, and it happened 2,000 years ago, about after the destruction of the second temple in Jerusalem. It's all related, because the temple symbolized perfection, symbolized that there is a sanitary, a place where you can draw the light force of the Creator, and from there you can spread it out throughout the world. That was the purpose of the temple. Pilgrims came to the Holy Temple from all nations. They all have their own stations. All religions, all faiths came to the Holy Temple to charge themselves 3 times a year. Now, something happened, that the temple was destroyed. The reason why the temple destroyed time after time, not coincidentally on the same exact day, which is the 9th day of the month of Leo, is for the reason of hatred for no reason. Meaning there was such a jealousy, there was such a separation between those people that served the temple. There was such politics. There was such a misunderstood between them that the temple, which represent exactly the opposite, symbolize love, symbolize unity, symbolize light to the world, could not coexist. There was a differentiation in its essence. Therefore, it brought a lot of judgment, and the Romans destroyed the temple, and the Greeks contaminated it, and that was the story. Yeah. Now, in the same time, there was a very, very huge Kabbalist named Rav Akiva. And Rav Akiva, you can research about him later, is a huge, huge soul. They say that he's even higher than Moses. And he gathered 24,000 students around him. And he taught them how to become alchemists, how to become Kabbalists. They were so powerful. And it says that all of those students swept away, died in a certain pandemic. So it's not clear if it was a physical pandemic or they were chastened by the Romans, because the Romans in that time, after what happened in the temple, they decided no more teachings. You're not allowed to learn spiritual teachings in the country. Can you imagine? So you're thinking, oh, the Romans, such a bad people. No, they were part of the judgmental force that actually came about because of the politics that happened in the temple, because of the hatred among the spiritual people, because all the separation. You understand? The Romans were just a result, bringing judgment. That's how it goes. When we are not aligned with the cosmic help, with the cosmic light, judgment comes to the world in different forms. It doesn't matter. But if it happens, it means that it's already been decreed to be this way. And there is a reason why it happened. Is that making sense? So from here to there, 24,000 people suddenly been swept away, killed by the Romans, die in a disease. It's not super clear. It happened 2,000 years ago. But the bottom line is that they say, the statement is that even those 24,000, and remember this number, it's a very important number, 24,000. 24 is a very important number, remember it, it's a code. So those 24,000 students, they couldn't hold respect to one another. Same reason again. It means that they didn't appreciate the power of their fellow Kabbalist friend. In their level, we're not talking about regular people. They were giants. They were spiritual giants. But they also been correcting something. So if we fast backward to the time of Moses in the desert, there is a guy called Pinchas, which is the grandson of Aaron. So he's seeing something that's happening in the camp. Two people, the head of one of tribe is doing something very negative with another woman sexually. And he see physically how it's causing a pandemic that start to kill how many? 24,000 people. And he decided to take an act and to take a spear, and he's killing those two people. I know this is sound like a fantasy movie. And he decided to kill those two people, and he's stopping the plague. He's stopping the plague in that moment. So they say that the reincarnation of all those 24,000 people there from the tribe of Shimon were reincarnated as the students of Rabbi Akiva. The history is repeating itself back and forward. 600,000 Israelites, 6 million people swept in the Holocaust. All those numbers just telling us that we are in a cycle of reincarnation, try to correct ourselves. And everything that happens now, not by coincidence, they're saying that around 24,000 soldiers in Israel already killed during the entire wars. So just to tell you that everything is interconnected, really. That's the point. Everything is interconnected, and we need to learn the lessons, for God's sake, so we don't have to go in a loop on a personal level, on a global level. So what happened? Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar, a huge soul, they say, was a reincarnation of Moses. So he was able to stop this pandemic that happened with those students. He was able to stop it on Lag Baomer, on that day. Why? He was so connected to the divine. He saw the vortex that exists on that day. And he used the energy of mercy that was as a window during those days of judgment, because all of those 49 days are days of judgment. So many negative things usually take place during those times. If you check the history, if you know to transcend the Kabbalistic calendar to the Gregorian, and you check the history of time, you'll see that so many negative happening many things happening during this period. Why? It's days of judgments. It's days of limitations. So we need to be super careful the way we behave, because we are there to take responsibility. We are there to correct. We're not there to bring more judgment, isn't it? So he identified that opening and used that day to stop, said no, because he and the only 4 other students of Rav Akiva that remained, they were in total unity. They were in total understanding that this is the correction of the world, to move from pride, to move from ego, from this unity to true love. And after Lag Baomer, in that time, Rav Akiva, which was their teacher, he assigned them. He said, you're going to be the 5 that are going to bring all the teachings to the world. And each and every one of them was a different channel for different type of teachings. So we know there is the Mishnah, there is the Gemara, there is the Halacha, and of course there is the Sod, which is the secret. So Rav Shimon was assigned on the secrets, on the wisdom of Kabbalah. And he was the channel to bring about the Zohar. So around 30 years later, he channeled the Zohar on that day. How did it all happen? Because he continued not to stop teaching Torah and teaching the wisdom. The Roman and the corrupted rabbis at that time, they were chasing after them. They sending the Romans after them. He was threatened to be killed. He went away and hid in a cave, took his son, and for 12 years he stayed in that cave. And through those 12 years, he received teachings from Elijah the prophet and from Moses that were coming down and teaching them. Very special stories, as you see. And for 12 years, they received all the wisdom of truth, all the wisdom that exists in the physical reality, in the upper world. Everything was clear to them, transparent to them. And then they got out of that cave after they heard that the Roman Caesar died, which means that the decree of wanting them to be killed ended. And they came out. They all were swollen and wounded because they were, in order to neutralize all the energy that they received in the ground, to ground themselves. They were buried themselves during their day in order for them to hold on the energy that they received. So they all were bruised and wounded, and the father-in-law that saw Rabbi Shimon, the way he looked, so bruised and wounded, he say, I'm so sorry to see you this way. So Rav Shimon told him, if you weren't seeing me this way, I wouldn't be this way. So you shouldn't be sorry, because what you see is just the shell of the body, but I received so much. And then he started gathering his students together. And there were 10 students. 10 also, it's a very important number. 10 symbolize the 10 Sphirot, the tree of life. And together, they revealed the Zohar in another cave called the Hidra. The Hidra Rabbah. Hidra Rabbah in Aramaic means the assembly, the great assembly. And they say that on Lag Baomer, for one day, again, they revealed the entire energy of the Zohar. So this is another occasion that Rav Shimon used a day that was unknown to anyone else till this very day, and he used that day to reveal the Zohar. So another thing that happened, that he decided to depart the world on exactly the same day, 3 years later. Yeah? Why? Because he wanted to mark for us this day. He called upon his students. He knew that he's going to leave. He prepared them. He gave them the last teachings. He smiled with them. They say that there was fire all around the house. in that moment. And then he told them, listen, guys, I want to teach you. I don't want to depart this world in lack. I want to share with you even more. He shared with them the last teachings, and then he passed away. And now, because he was, people saw there is so much energy around that, the people from the villages start to fight. They say, we want Rabbi Shimon to be buried in our town. They say, we want him to bury in our. They start fighting again. Say, how can you fight on that symbolize of unity and love? Suddenly the bed elevated and went by itself to the month of Meron and decided where it wanted to be. That's what truly happened. Can you imagine? So even after, in a way, he passed away, he had inside of him the strength to say, no, I don't want separation around this holiday. So from that, we understood that an elevation of a person, it's not necessarily a negative day if he came to completion. It's actually a day of revelation. He marked that day to tell us that when a righteous person leaves the world at a certain time, he actually putting us a mark that we can connect to his soul on a yearly basis. We can connect to his soul on a yearly basis exactly on the same day. So more stories about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and what he was able to accomplish. So the story about him, that he came to such a level that the opponent, this angel called opponent, the angel of death, whatever you call it, came complaining to the Creator. He said, as long as this person is alive, I cannot really do the work that you assign me to do. You assign me to test people, you assign me to trial people, to try to deceive them, but he's breaking the entire rules. So if people doing a lot of negativity and it's accumulated and they're supposed to come, because if one person, another person, 10 people, 15 people, 1,000 people, million people going about doing negative acts, all of this negativity accumulate. It means that energy never disappears. It's much transferred itself to something. So every time a lot of negative energy accumulated, it must appear as some kind of a disaster, some kind of a chaotic thing that happened. So whatever we see right now in the world is just a result of accumulation of too much negativity, not necessarily from one country or another, from one religion or another. It's related to all of us. Now we know more than ever that everything is global. If someone feels subdued in China, and has been slave in China, the energy that he experienced impacts all of us in a ripple effect. That's our butterfly effect. If a butterfly swings his wings in Miami, it can cause an hurricane somewhere else. Yeah? That's how it works. This is the quantum reality. Energy never disappears. Therefore, anytime that the actions of people came to that place of creating a huge cloud of negativity, immediately Rabbi Shimon will go to that area and starting to fight those angels that represent that negativity that wants to bring havoc and chaos to the world. So it's like real stories from the Zohar. So one day he saw with his son that there was a huge cloud of negativity, and he went to it to say, okay, let's see what it's about. And he said, this angel telling him, we got an order from the Creator to destroy the world. So he told that negative angel, which is the angels of death, says, as long as I'm here, you cannot do it. Go back to your Creator and tell him that Rabbi Shimon is here and it's not allowed. I'm sorry. So he go back to the creator say, we cannot break the rules. Yeah. This is cause and effect. You have to go and do your work, do what you have to do. So he came back and he's meeting Rabbi Shimon again. Rabbi Shimon is telling him, listen, if you're not going to stop your plans, I'm just going to destroy you. I'm just going to dematerialize you. And then he gets really scared, and then the voice comes from above and say that the moment the righteous person is decreeing other than the creator have to obey, because he comes from the perfected world. He's already perfected himself. So the creator have to say yes. But the bottom line is that eventually the complaint of the opponent was right. It said, I cannot really apply the rules of cause and effect over everyone. It couldn't be that one person is doing the job to everyone. It doesn't make sense. So the creator told Rab Shimon, said, listen, you prove your point. You are my favorite son. Leave this world of chaos. Come and be with me. Let the world continue its process. So, of course, when the creator come to Rabbi Shimon and say, okay, I'm going to depart the world. I'm going to come and join you, of course. But before he left the world, he answered to all his wisdom, all his power, all his understanding, all the tools for us really to make use inside the Zohar. But the Zohar, we know, is the shining, is the concealed light. It's the endless light that was concealed into one book. And that is Lag Baomer. Lag Baomer is the celebration of the Zohar. It's the celebration of what the whole center is about. It's a celebration of what is the meaning of life. More than that, it's the day that you can make a tremendous shift to any movie that belong to in our life. This is the idea. That's the reason why it's so good to participate in such a day, especially when we are connected to the wisdom. What we want to do is make use of the Zohar, because they say that the Zohar is like the Ark of Noah in the chaotic world, in the flood. We think the flood happened so many years back, but we are in the midst of that flood, and we want to have this protection shield around us. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai created the protection shield, and that's the reason we want to charge ourselves with the DNA of the Zohar, with the DNA of Rav Shimon, because all his light is being revealed during this day. So this is what actually took place. So we know that within the teaching, within the connecting to the Zohar, we can defeat our personal opponent. We can defeat eventually the global opponent that playing with our minds, playing with politics, playing with the religions, playing with the minds of people, and creating so much separation. Within the essence of the Zohar and Rav Shimon and the students, the 5 students, there was total unity. It was true friendship. Not friendship because we can gossip together. It was the friendship of we are here in a mission to bring light to the world. And we understand it, that we are soul friends. Okay? So in one of the statement that Rav Shimon put in the Zohar, it says, I have the power to cancel all the judgment from the world. So imagine yourself, like by us connecting to that day, by us asking that our personal judgment, asking from the world judgment to stop this pandemic that we're seeing over and over of hatred, to stop. We can participate with that. That's the mission of Kabbalah, the big picture of what we're doing in Kabbalah. It's not just, learning something, having a bit more blessings in our life. It's really the mission of removing chaos from the world, freeing the world from chaos. That's leading to redemption. So the Kabbalists explained to us that Shavuot, that's what happened. After the 49 days, that was the revelation that the Israelites earned. And in order for them to earn that, they had to commit for true collateral. It means that they promise to be responsible for one another, to take care of one another. And then the revelation took place. But in reality, what happened in Shavuot, it was the manifestation of what happened in Lag Baomer. Lag Baomer was the seed level of Shavuot. So the Rav, our teacher, explains to us that in reality, we were waiting for Shavuot, for revelation, Mount Sinai, sing. But everything actually been planted and took place in the seed level on Lag Baomer. All this revelation. So 24, again, 24. He said that the word that we are correcting on this counting of the Omer called Elohim. Elohim. Elohim, it's one of the names of the Creator, but in a form of judgment. Okay? It's equal to the numerical number of the word Teva, which is nature. So when we talk about nature, we all like nature so much. But nature in reality is cause and effect. Cause and effect, it means that everything is just a result of past actions. That's nature. And it's engraved within us because we are carrying our nature. So when we talk about our nature, we're talking about judgment. Don't be proud with your nature so much. It's called judgment. We are here to define nature. We're here to define nature. So the Kabbalists explain to us that the word Elohim, which is the judgment word for the experience of the Creator, which is nature, you can pronounce it in 24 different ways. Okay? 24 different ways. And that's relating to those 24,000. Now, it's starting with the letter Aleph. Aleph is also represent the word Aleph, which is thousands. So within this word of the Creator, Elohim, nature, there is the Eden understanding of 24,000. It's a code. So every time there is a wipeout of 24,000 and it's appear in some way or another, it means that the form of judgment took its turn. Now, on Lag Baomer, this word changes. And instead of Elohim, it's turning into Akdatam. It means only the 3 letters inside the word Elohim is changes to Chaf, Daled, Tet, which is equal to 33. Not by coincidence. To 33. And says this is how it's, because it's been transformed, those letters been transformed. It's a lot of mathematics because all the counting is mathematics. I don't know if you experience it, but it doesn't matter. It's all about counting. Counting, it means the calculation. Calculations but we calculating and we taking responsibility over all our actions that we took in life. This is the point. And our vessel is being constructed from all of those tiny corrections. So the moment the vessel is complete and corrected, that's the moment light can recite, and that's what happened on Shavuot. Yeah? So till Lag Baomer, there were 32 days. Yeah? Lag Baomer is the 33rd day. So 32 days, it's numerical number of the word Lev, which means heart. So we know that the first period up to next week, Saturday, we are actually correcting our hearts. Heart also is a numerical number of the word kavod, which means is respect. Respect is also another way to say pride. Pride and respect are very similar words in the Kabbalistic term. Someone that's looking to respect, it means that he thinks he deserves respect. Yeah? And remember, those students of Rav Akiva, they died only because they were not holding respect to one another. So instead of holding respect to myself, actually the correction is really to honor others, to see the soul within other people. But this correction stopped on the 33rd day. From the 33rd day and on, there are 17 days. So 32 plus 17 is 49, remember? So 17 days equal to the word tov, which means good. So there is a transition in the Omer from Lag Baomer till Shavuot. It means that it's very, we kind of going into a light phase. Of course, if we make the connection. Because it says, Lev Tov, it means the good heart. That's the whole point. The whole point is to bring ourselves that we have enough how do you say, enough heart intelligence. Yeah? Heart intelligence. Emotional intelligence. Because we know that the heart works upon emotions, the emotions, and it's the magnetic field to attract. So when the heart is good and it's projecting good, it's attracting goodness. So this is the process of these days. Yeah? So it's all about unity, everything. It's all about understanding that we are all on one mission. The mission is really to remove chaos from the world. The mission is really to stop the plague of pride, the plague of separation, and with the use of that day to do that. So for us, it's a day when we connect. It's a day when we study. It's the day when we are contributing towards the mission of bringing the teachings of Kabbalah to the world. So this is the day that we actually understanding, wow, it's not really about me. It's about really how I can bring this light to the world. That everyone will be in peace. That all the judgment, how can I take a spark of Rav Shimon that I am totally in control over the opponent of my circle, not over myself. I'm not allowing it to be in control. I'm helping others to overcome the inclinations. I'm helping others to overcome this limited ego mindset that I want just a little for myself. This is what it's all about. Such a powerful day to connect. And of course, not by coincidence, his best friend with Rav Meir Baal HaNes, the one that is in charge of miracles, his anniversary today, helping us. So tonight you can light a candle, connecting to the soul of Rav Meir Baal HaNes. You can Google it a little bit, read about him a little bit. And with his help, he's going to push us towards even more understanding towards Lag Baomer. We did also the 30-30 project that is going to, the challenge will end by Lag Baomer. So we're going to do all the graduation there. So everything is revolving that day from the spiritual mind. It's such an important junction for us that can make tremendous impact from us taking charge on our lives, taking charge on the world, understanding that if one person could have changed the entire world, don't underestimate your powers. Each and every one of us are huge. If we are studying Kabbalah sincerely, we are huge the impact that we're doing. Even though the world look upside down and chaotic, we shouldn't fall into that. And we will see that suddenly everything's going to clear up, and hopefully true unity will happen among all the people in the world. Yeah, with the help of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, because that was his mission. He knew how to do it. He can help us to do it. We just need to learn to connect with soul. So we're going to have an event here in Kabbalah Center, Toronto. We're going to open it online. There is also an event internationally, or Kabbalah.com, that we're going to connect to. We're doing a study all night on that day. We don't go to sleep. What happens when a person doesn't go to sleep? When a person sacrifices his night sleep? Something enormous happens, especially if he invested into spiritual teaching during that time. It says that he can remove a huge layer of blockages, and you can decide which one you want. But say, if it's in a relationship, if it's in health, if it's in career, whatever it is, a huge layer can be removed for me because of using an all-night study, especially on such a day. You can exercise it in another nights too. Other windows, and even without any windows. Every time I study at night, all night, sacrificing the night sleep till dawn, I'm peeling a huge layer of negativity from my karma. Okay? But that's the best day to exercise it. So prepare yourself, sleep in the afternoon on Saturday, and before sunset, make sure that you wake up, and then prepare yourself till dawn. It's not a big deal.